وقد نحتاجهم أن يتعلمون الكثير من الخصائص والامتيازات كالتعلم المخاطبة الجماعية أو التواصل والتفاني في العمل وما إلى ذلك.
And one last thing from our curriculum I want to mention is it actually emphasizes the participation of students in many different ways.
هذا الشيء الأخير الذي أريد أن أتحدث عنه هو ذلك يعزز ارتقاء الطالب ويجعله فرد فعال.
And the goal is, of course, to promote their learning and their motivation, but also to develop their skills as active citizens, because that is what we want them to become, active citizens to build our society further.
هناك الكثير من الأشياء التي يتعلموها، ولكن نحن نريدهم أن يتركوا بصمة كمواطنين فعالين، وهذا ما نريدهم أن يتعلموا.
So, to put it all together, I think the whole idea of Finnish education is, you could put it in one sentence and it's here, that each child should have the right to experience the joy of learning. And we want that for our children, but we want that for all children around the world equally. And now I've tried to capture some perspectives of Finnish education, but of course there's so much more to share, and we are continuing collaboration with Ertica International Group and offering training programs that will be introduced later. So if you're interested in some particular area or topic, maybe you can find an interesting training program there. But anyway, I thank so much for this opportunity to share all of this, and I would be happy to answer questions if you have any. So let's see.
تلخيص لهذا الكلام عن المناهج الفنلندية والتعليم بالأسس الفنلندية هو خلط المتعة مع التعليم، وهي باختصار هو الثمرة في هذا المخصص. هناك الكثير من الأوجه التي يريد مشاركتها، ولكن لن أتمكن من ذلك. ولكن لو توجد هناك أسئلة أو استفسارات، الرجاء أنا متواجدا.
So I tried to look at the chat. There's a lot of Arabic, which I unfortunately cannot read. I'm looking forward to hearing your insights later. I hope I can get them translated. But now I can see that Sarah Jassim has 2 questions. How teachers evaluate students at the end of the semester? That's a good question, and that is also very often asked. And actually, in our curriculum, teachers are they need to evaluate and assess their students all the time, and they have to use different assessment and evaluation methods. So very often when we say that we don't have mandatory tests for Finnish students, it doesn't mean that we don't have any tests at all. So we do have, for instance, teachers give tests to their students to see whether they have learned and what needs to be learned more. Could you translate this, please?
أرى أن هناك الكثير من التعليقات باللغة العربية، ولكن هناك أيضا من يسأل عن كيفية تقييم الأستاذ للطالب، وهذا جانب مهم جدا في الثقافة الفنلندية والطرق التدريس، ونهتم جدا بذلك، وسوف أتحدث عنك في الأوقات.
And not only the tests are only one assessment method, but they also use observation. They can give different types of tasks and assignments to the students. Sometimes they use portfolio assessment. They also use self and peer assessment. So the idea is to get like rich assessment data to understand where the student is with their learning. And they do need to give grades at the end of the semester, but the grades are not, how would I say, not that maybe serious than in other countries. So they are kind of indication, where do you stand, what needs to be improved, and so on.
ولكن ليس فقط التقييم يتم بالاختبارات، ولكن هذا جزئية بسيطة جدا، ولكن هناك درجات في محصلة آخر السنة الدراسية، وليست ذات أهمية كبيرة ولا تعطى بأساس الاختبارات وذلك. Is someone asking what is your opinion on the public? What is your opinion in the Saudi education, the public Saudi education?
What is my opinion on? Sorry, I couldn't hear.
The Saudi education system.
Oh, sorry. Yes, now I got you. It's I heard a little bit vaguely, but yes. To be honest, I prefer not to say a lot about other education systems. The reason is I don't know them well enough. I think the local teachers, principals, and all educators are the experts, and they know better, much better than we. And also I respect the fact that every country has developed their education to meet the needs of their country. Of course, we are all developing. We all try to improve our education. So I was interviewed like a month ago, a little bit more maybe, for a podcast made by a Scottish reporter, and he asked me, what do I think about the British education system? And even if I know quite a lot about it, I don't think I'm an expert saying that how is it done. But I'm happy to talk about different areas of education and share what I know the best, the Finnish, and also to discuss the differences and similarities. I very often find that I learn a great deal myself when people are explaining their education system to me, and I think there are many ways to deliver quality education.
أنا أرى هناك أني لا أستطيع الحكم عن النظام التعليم السعودي، لأني لا أملك الخبرة أو المعلومات الكافية لذلك، ولكن هناك مختصون وأساتذة ومدراء مختصون ومحترفون في ذلك المجال، وأنا أيضا أعتقد أنهم هم الأفضل في فئتهم وضمن مجالهم. ولكن قد سئلت أيضا في لقاء صحفي عن التعليم البريطاني وما رأيك في التعليم البريطاني، وقلت لهم أني لا أملك الخبرة الكافية للحكم عن هذا التعليم، ولكن أنا أكثر من سعيدة لمشاركتكم جوانب أخرى من الحديث في التعليم الفنلندي وما إلى ذلك.
I can see one question in the chat box that I would really like to address. Somebody asked that, does mitigating the student's cognitive aspect with a focus on practicality help strengthen your student's nervous side? And I think this is an excellent point of view, and I think it actually does. Many special education teachers have told several times that also that we have so much this practical content and learning by doing, learning concretely with your own hands, actually helps many students to develop self-regulation and many useful learning skills that they can actually apply in academic side as well. So it's interesting that, for instance, metalwork and woodwork actually contribute to learning mathematics and physics. So does the textile work, by the way. So we see them as very combined, and they are supporting each other. And this is, for us, it's very remarkable outcome.
No, I think that doesn't need my translation. He constructed the question very nicely.
Yes.
I think he understood.
Yeah. Then I see another question: how
we can get the online courses? How can we benefit from this experience on the Finland education?
Well, Urtica International Group is organizing a series of trainings starting this autumn and continuing next year. And they will be webinars based on expertise of different Finnish education experts. So we would be more than happy to have participants there. And then we also offer online courses, and I'm sure that Urtica International Group will also inform about those possibilities. So they are our partners, and we completely trust them to find the best solutions for this area. So thank you if you're interested, and we would be happy to give opportunities for those who are more interested.
هناك الكثير من التجربات ابتداء من الربيع في هذه السنة. سوف نقدم الكثير من التجارب عن التعليم الفنلندي ومحاضرات. سيكونون أكثر من سعيدين لحضورك ولسؤالك عن هذا التعليم.
Oh, I'm seeing so many interesting questions. I wish I could answer all of them. I'll take one of them, which I see. Is there a quiz every week to evaluate the students to know their weaknesses? I would say in general, no. I think the teachers use, as I said, many type of evaluation methods. But since we have high autonomy for the teachers, some teachers actually like to use quizzes to get like quick understanding where the students are. For instance, in learning foreign languages, that is, I think, more common. But it totally depends on the teacher and the subject as well. So it's not a standard, but some teachers use it.
في الغالب لا، ولكن هناك الأساتذة الذين يرون أن الاختبارات ووضع الاختبارات القصيرة تساعدهم في التركيز أكثر، وذلك يعتمد اعتمادا عن الطالب وعلى الأستاذ نفسه في تلك المرحلة. There's also another excellent question: how to identify the student common skills to let them achieve their target achievements, if I understood that correctly. And that is a very good question.
the common skills, the transversal skills, need to be assessed and evaluated as well. And there are like many ways. Many teachers use a lot of self-assessment, so they ask the students themselves to assess how they are doing with their interaction skills, social skills, and so on. They also discuss with the students to get a better understanding where the students stand in transversal skills. And then they have they are doing observation as well. And then they have some tasks where you can evaluate these skills more precisely. So to be completely honest, I find explaining the assessment and evaluation maybe the most difficult in our education system, because it's so versatile. It's really hard to capture it within a few explanations. But I'm hoping that we can address this topic more comprehensively during our webinars. I think that could be one topic in general.
وهذا سؤال جيد جدا في التقييم الذاتي، ونرى أن هناك الكثير من الأساتذة يعتمدون منهج التقييم الذاتي للطالب نفسه، حيث يذهبون للطالب ويسألوه ما رأيك في الموضوع الفلاني والحصة الفلانية أو المادة الفلانية، وتقييم الذات، ولكن بشكل غير مألوف. لا أستطيع الحكم على التقييم في كافة النظام التعليم الفنلندي لأنه متنوع جدا، ولكن سوف أحاول أن أبسط هذا في الأيام القادمة.
I think I'll take one more question and then I think our time is up. There is one question.
سؤال واحد وأظن أن وقتنا قد انتهى.
In the chat box, in your opinion, how can other countries transform teaching from the current system to a more lifelong learning, student performance-based learning safely without leaving any students behind? That's an excellent question once again. And I would say that step by step. I think that making too radical changes at once often disrupts the structure of education. And I think that's how Finland has mainly evolved as well, taking small steps into the direction we want to achieve. Very often it's a different thing what teachers can do at their classes, what the schools can do together, and then how can we change the whole education system. Of course, it's difficult to change the whole education system unless you're a politician or a decision maker in your country. But there are even limits within your education system. There are things schools can do if they decide to act together. For instance, we have got visitors from many schools that have gone back to their countries and their schools, and they have actually made changes on a school level. Sometimes if you're an individual teacher and you cannot change how the whole school works, you can pretty often affect what is happening in your classroom. And that is what we want to discourage, to make like small experiments, let the student get used to new practices little by little, taking small steps, but being persistent in the things you want to achieve. And even if this might sound really small, we have seen such an encouraging examples what kind of changes individual teachers have made, but also schools have made. And we also can see that even on a national level, many countries are taking very courageous steps to improve the education in the whole world. So I'm not sure if this answers your question, but that is my message, not to make everything completely new at once, but rather deciding what are the things I want to develop, what I want to achieve and how, and then going step by step to that direction. And don't be afraid of failures. Everyone fails every now and then. Not everything works at once. I personally, my background is in teaching, and when I was a teacher, I failed so many times I cannot even count. But trying again, changing things a bit, I usually started also getting more better experiences and succeeding in what we were trying to achieve with the students. So that's my message. But now our time is up, and I really want to thank all of you. Thank you so much for the positive, encouraging comments in the chat box, and also for being so patient. And this has been like a long presentation, but I hope it brought you some new ideas. Thank you so much.
أريد شكركم. ملاحظة وقتنا قد انتهى لهذا اليوم، وكان يوم طويل جدا ومليء بالفعاليات، وشكرا للروح الإيجابية في الشات، وشكرا لكم جميعا.